into the Writer's Nest. I'm here today with Dr. Anesha Fuller. And Dr. Fuller is here with me today to discuss her book. It's called Growing Up Foresaken. Okay, Growing Up Foresaken is her journey that she as a forsaken child endured and how she was able to overcome. She is now a PhD in education and has been doing a wonderful job out there. So we're going to talk more about that with her. And Dr. Fuller, welcome to the Writer's Nest.
Thank you for having me.
Now, normally we have some snack afterwards and we have snack before, but today I decided to have the food be part of this discussion.
Right.
So I made moringa. I made moringa tea with cinnamon. Okay, I put some sugar in yours. I don't take any sugar in mine.
Okay.
Now we have sparkling water, orange water. It's 0 calories.
Good.
Okay,
good.
0
Watching
sugars.
my weight.
Okay, so you can have that or regular water. Which one you want?
Regular water.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you regular water. You're gonna put that there. So you want to wet your throat a little bit. I'm gonna deal with the sparkling water. Only because I'm curious. I haven't tasted it. It has an orange flavor to it.
Oh,
Okay.
it's really good.
Okay, so now, what I made today is we did vegan breakfast. We have, I don't know if you can call it vegan, and that there's eggs there, and eggs does come from an animal.
Yeah.
And I felt like some eggs. So I did put some eggs with dairy-free, soy-free cheese. Okay, the cheddar cheese. So that's in the egg. And then we have Morningstar breakfast patties, vegetarian.
Looks yummy.
Yes, and we have baked beans, which is Trader Joe's. This is Trader Joe's baked beans. Now I don't know if you like baked beans, but I kind of like my baked beans. So try it. Be open-minded.
All right. I'll just take some.
Yeah. And then we have gluten-free bread.
Okay.
Multi-grain gluten-free bread by Udis.
You know what's so crazy? I was gonna say, is this hard on bread?
No.
It looks just like it.
So it's gonna be a kind of not sip and chat, eat and chat.
Eat and chat.
Okay.
I get it.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about your book, because you have a fascinating little book. And the book is called Growing Up Foresaken. So, don't mind if we eat and talk, okay? All right. Growing Up Foresaken. I said earlier that this is your journey into growing up as a forsaken. But what I like about this book is the way that you kind of broke it down into the different forms of forsaken that I never thought of. I thought when you forsake somebody, you turn your back on them, you forsake them. But you explained that there are other forms of forsaken, meaning a child might be forsaken because the mother dies.
Right.
So death forsake them. I've let the mother forsake them in that way. It might be because they're in the home, but they're not paying attention to the child. But tell us a little bit about your story. So you originally, I'm going to take you along, leave the story along for a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're originally from the island of Jamaica. You were born and you came as a baby. Tell us
Right.
where your journey of forsakenness began.
I think you could say my journey of I'm gonna get on tongue tied.
That's okay.
Forsakenness
Mm-hmm.
really started from birth, actually, because I was given to my dad as a baby. My dad and my dad's family.
Okay.
I came to America when I was at the age of 1, still a baby,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been living with my dad's family. I grew up with them
Mm-hmm.
from my childhood to adult years, and I basically became separated from my dad from around my toddler years. So I can basically say, really.
So how did you become, so now one parent gave you up,
Right.
and the other parent brought you and gave you to what, his mom?
Yes.
So how did you become separated from him? Well, he also wasn't in your life.
He also wasn't in my life because he got deported, so he
Okay.
had to go back home to Jamaica. So you know how that circumstances go.
Right.
You're
So now, but grandma is here, and now you're here with grandma.
right.
Okay. So, and mom is in Jamaica, so are you able to call mom? You could visit her sometime? Or this is total forsakenness on her part?
Total forsakenness on her part. Like, just like, okay, one less child to think about, one less
So she
child.
had other children?
Yeah, she had other children.
Before you?
Yes.
So it's pretty much, I can deal with a third, give it to the father, but she never stayed in the picture in any way.
No.
Mm. Okay. You said, you were talking about, you started the book off talking about where you were lining up to go for graduation.
Right.
And so how does someone who's a forsaken no mother or father really in your life, grandma is doing the best she can, ends up with a PhD in education.
Interesting. A lot of people ask me that. I think I realized at a very early age because of the people that I had around me.
Right.
I consider myself to be not lucky, but I consider myself blessed, and I honestly, truly believe that God has a purpose and a plan for me. Mm-hmm. And along this journey, I've had encountered people that have helped me and mentored me, and they showed me what life can be for me if I take my education seriously. It can basically take me out of poverty. Mm-hmm. So I've always kept that in mind as I journey through life, and I've always taken my education seriously. So it landed me to my doctorate in education, basically my PhD in education, because I always felt the need of being forsaken. Mm-hmm. It's like you have like a different motive. You always have to make sure that you're on your A game, because to the end of the day, all you have is you. Right. So if I fail me, then I'm basically dead. I have nothing.
Because you don't have that extra support.
Yes,
so
you don't have that extra support.
So in chapter, I believe this is chapter 2.
Yes.
Okay, in chapter 2 you talk about the different levels of forsakenness.
Yes.
Total forsakenness, which is what you described as happening to you.
Right.
And then you talk about partial forsakenness. So explain what would be some of the reasons that somebody's partially forsaken. Is that?
Well, some people could be partially forsaken, as I explained in the book, because a lot of times in a lot of scenarios you see single mothers. Mm. So it's in the sense that you have some sort of parental support. There's a mother around. You have a mother figure. Mm-hmm. In this case now, which I also mentioned as well too, mm-hmm. You start to see the rise of dads being single parents. Yeah, so you have a lot of dads that's taking care of children on their own. Right. So you're partially forsaken in the sense that you at least have one parent around.
In your case, it was total.
Total.
Okay. Have you met dad though?
I've met dad.
You met him?
I've met dad. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, a part of me saying I met dad, but I've always felt like my dad was disconnected from me. Mm-hmm. And when I say disconnected, I never really heard my dad say I love you.
But that's not unusual for Caribbean parents. We know they love us, but they're not necessarily talking
yes.
I love you, I love you. That's not necessarily.
And you know what's so crazy? After writing this book, and in the book I talk about going to therapy, and like this one of the things we discuss, like Caribbean parents are not really like affectionate in some sort of sense. Especially, I don't want to generalize and say all Caribbean parents, because I feel like some are, and some that are more modernized, that, they know.
Maybe a lot of the ones who are out here.
Yes.
But it's not a cultural, we're not a touchy-feely, oh, I love you, honey, I love you. But we show it by the way we take care of our children.
We show it in action, but it's not really spoken in a sense. And I feel like my dad was more the type that believed in tough love, and also believed it's a repetitive cycle. And I talk about this repetitive cycle in the book. If I wasn't shown it by my parents, it's impossible for me to show it to you, because it wasn't done to me. Okay. And you understand, a lot of people learn how they grow. Right. So if I wasn't given this type of treatment with my parent, well, for some people, they won't know how to reciprocate it to their children.
That is true. That is true. And then you talk about rejected, forsaken.
Yes.
So describe that to us.
All right. A rejected, forsaken, I would say, is a person that has parents around, but they're disassociated with their children. And
maybe working too hard.
Working too hard. I can't even say working too hard, because I know some people that work hard and still find time for their children. Little things matter. But I think that the time that I'm in right now, everyone is like pushing off their responsibility. You see the time that, let's say for example, Uber. You could drop your kids off at school, and in that 10 minutes of dropping your kids off at school, you can hold a meaningful conversation with them. How's school, what's going on, what is it like? But instead, we'll send our kids home in an Uber to like hurry up and make it easier for ourselves. And, that's time like being disconnected. Even like sitting down and eating dinner together is bonding time. Watching TV together or playing a game. We rather just give them the iPad and just move off and go do something else. There's really a disconnect. So therefore your children don't feel like they have that relationship with you to bond with you. And a lot of times I've seen even amongst my own friends complain like, they lived in their house with their parents, but they're not connected to their parents because their parents like basically shut them out.
Okay. when I read the book, before we started this interview,
Yes.
I sat with you and I kind of get a sense of you, the person. I met you before,
Yes.
but I got a sense of you, the person. I really delved into it. And one of the first questions I asked was, one of the first things I mentioned, not so much a question, I said, I noticed in the book that this wasn't a book about bashing your parents.
No.
But you had gone through the experience, and the sense I came away with is that you're feeling that this is something that can help a child or a person who might be going through something or having to grow up forsaken, like you did. To the point where I felt that you were still being protective of mom and dad. Like you didn't want to say too much. I still wasn't quite clear on
yes.
the full extent of why you were forsaken. I know that you didn't grow up with them.
Yeah.
I know that you grew up with grandma. You got that from the book, but there was still that sense of protecting your mom, that this wasn't a bashing thing about bashing mom and dad. This was, I just want to be able to share what happened with me, how I was able to overcome, and hopefully I could motivate that young person who might be going through some form of forsakenness.
Okay.
Is that accurate?
Accurate, and I want to touch down a little bit on that. Okay, you said a very a very true and impactful point. I didn't want. I think I wanted the book to be clean because I knew it would create controversy because I was going to open up about a situation that I feel like I never open up about it. So the book, number one, is geared towards it's a healing process for me.
Right.
Because it's something that I felt like I held a secret. Like people before that know me or people that did not know me they don't know that I never met my biological mother in person. And all my friends were so
Have you
shocked.
still not met her?
No. All my friends were shocked.
Do you know what she looked like?
I recently found out what she looked like about a couple of years ago. But growing up, I couldn't. If she was to pass me on the street, I wouldn't be able to tell you how she looked. I would have passed.
And what about her family?
I don't know anybody on her side of the family.
What are your brothers and sisters or brothers or sisters?
I reconnected to them when she reached out to me. It's about 4 or 5 of us. But the relationship, it's like strangers. And, I didn't really like how their approach was. So for me, it's just, I'm a firm believer. If you're coming in my space and your aura is not right, I don't care if you're friends, family, whoever you are, you can't be in my space. And I felt like writing this book, I wanted to keep it clean. I wanted to not make it a bashing book, but I want people to understand what I went through, and this is how you can overcome it. And I felt so vindictive to tell my story because I'm an educator, and also, I work in a high school. I used to work in a elementary school. I teach college now. I meet so many different people that suffer from the same issues as me, and they're not strong enough to overcome it. And I'm saying, look at what happened to me. I've been fighting for such a long time on my own. But look how when you stand up and fight back, this is your reward. This is your victory. This is why I started the book.
I want you to taste a little piece of that bread.
Oh, you done?
It has coconut butter or coconut spread on it.
Really good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Right? We can talk. It's a eat and chat. So we can talk with a little food in our mouth. Okay.
It's like, this is why when I begin the book, I take you into my mind on the most momentous day of my life. Like, this was the day I was getting ready to walk across the stage and become Dr. Fuller. And within myself, I had a smile on my face. I was happy, but I was still sad inside because looking in this crowd in New Orleans, Louisiana, there was no mother and father in the crowd for me.
Was Mama there at least? Was she able to
Family was there. Family was there.
But there was no mother or no father.
No mother and father.
And they're not dead. So the child could reconcile, okay, they're dead, that's why they're not here. But if they're alive, you kind of throw away out. Why couldn't I have a family member, a mother or father here with me?
Yeah, and it was a pain that no one could express. And even at that particular time, I started thinking about all my other graduations. There was always family or friends cheering me on, but the most essential person wasn't there for me in the crowd, and it was like a pain of no other. And when I wrote about that, I connected it with when I used to teach elementary school. I used to see so many of the children, like if their mom or their dad promised to pick them up from school, they would talk about it all day long. Oh, my mom is going to get me my dad. I can't wait. And then we get outside to dismissal. It's grandma picking them up or the daycare. and they break down and they start crying because the expectancy of seeing your mother and father and the disappointment.
Right.
And I always used to feel some type of way when I used to see it, because I used to think about my own hurt and disappointment of a mother and a father. So it connected in so much ways.
Yeah. He said that in chapter 3, he said, time does not heal all wounds. So it didn't heal it, but you're clearly someone who weathered those storms that life dealt you. So talk about time does not heal all wounds. Or what you're trying to convey there.
When I say time doesn't heal all wounds, I think that, well, a lot of times someone said to me when I told them I was writing a book, they told me get over it.
Yeah.
You know? Like, this is when I was, I was in the process of writing it, and I disclosed it to someone. They told me get over it. Oh, just get over it. So what? You're an adult now. And I'm like, what? You can't tell me to get over something that I've been hurting for over a lot of years. And a lot of times people tell us that, like, even with a breakup or something bad happens, get over it. Everyone copes with different things in different stages or forms. Right. So you can't particularly tell somebody. Frame, give a time frame and tell somebody when they're going to heal. Like, let me heal when I'm, I get to that level where I know I'm completely over something. Right. Time does not heal all wounds. Some people say, okay, you break up with somebody within a month, you're going to be over them. Who's to say? I could still be hurting 3 years later from that breakup because of how that person impacted me or that breakup impacted me. Right. So time doesn't necessarily heal all wounds. You heal, take as much time as you want to heal. You know?
That's important to know.
I feel like I'm 75% healed. The book, before I was just a mess. The book really got me to that 75%. Do
you think you would ever get to 100%, or is there such a thing? Or does everybody have hurt?
I feel like I will get to 100% when I have my own children.
Okay, so now in chapter 4, chapter 4, you talk about take action. Tell us about some of the actions that you took.
Well, taking action. I ended up at a therapist, which I think is huge for me. I won't say I'm a secretive person because most people that know me know I'm an open book. I'm like a real person. I don't really like to hide. I don't really like to, this is it. You can't expose me because, that's the kind of person I am.
And culturally, especially for men, but even so with some of our women, culturally, that whole therapy thing is we're not too embracing it. Because you grew up here. That's probably even why you even thought of it. And I've been living here nearly 40 years. But then the Caribbean people, it's hard for them to go talk to somebody.
Listen to me. I normally associated, even though I was raised here, I normally associated with therapy with people going marital issues or if you had a psychological problem. I didn't know people go to therapy for things that were mental health bothering you, like how you feel about a certain particular situation that happened to you. You normally hear people going to therapy if they got raped and they're traumatized. Something major along that line would drive someone to a therapist.
Right.
I didn't understand the concept of taking care of your mind. And, as you read the book,
As a healing thing.
A healing thing, yes. And I feel like a lot, I was to say I was that person that suffered from anxiety, especially for the fact that I didn't have anyone to console me. I always had to be always working, on alert, taking care of myself, making sure everything, I stay on top of things. So the mere fact I suffer from a lot of anxiety because of nervousness of having to make sure that everything is always running smoothly for me. And I feel like one of the things that I've had that lesson is my anxiety from going to therapy, because it's I had this newfound attitude that, this is what's going on, okay, and I'm going to handle it.
Okay, we're going to take a break.
Yeah.
And then when we come back, we're going to delve into the rest of the book. Okay?
Right.
We'll be right back. So, welcome back to the Writer's Nest. So, we'll continue our discussion today.
My teeth because the food is so good.
Okay, so what do you like? Which one do you like best? You like all of it, or?
I'm not really crazy. I'm not really an egg person, but the patty and the bread was good. I had that.
The coconut butter tapped it real good.
And the tea was good as well too.
Yeah, I have a little bit of cinnamon. And normally I put some ginger, and I think I forgot. I put a little bit of ginger and some cinnamon in the moringa to give it a little flavor.
Really?
You have some sugar in yours. I don't put sugar in mine. I take mine straight.
Yeah, and I'm not even a tea person, and it tastes really good. But the patty and the bread, amazing.
Yes, yes.
I'm like over here. Oh my God, we back on camera. Get myself together.
Okay, so we're back talking about your book, Growing Up Forsaken.
Right.
Dr. Anesha Fuller. And we're now up to page 5 where you said, forming a new identity. So we talked before in chapter 4. In chapter 4, take actions. We talked about therapy.
Yes.
And that's really big, like I was saying earlier, that Caribbean people culturally, we're not big on the, but those of us who live here or who grew up here, we
understand.
Yeah. And I wholeheartedly embrace therapy. I have a therapist that I don't go to every week or every month. Sometimes you may not hear from me for a year. But let me go through something I learned the hard way, not to try to manage everything on your own. Not to try to feel like you have to be the tough one, you can't go get taught. Because you know what I say to my therapist? She know all my dirt.
Yeah.
Okay? And I don't have to deal with relatives or friends who are going to take my business and go spread it here and there.
Every time I go to speak, I let people know like how therapy is so beneficial. I said, number one thing with a lot of us, we tend to keep things inside because we're so scared. Basically, to like reiterate what I was saying, we live in an era right now where social media is a big thing. And I know you witnessed, and I've witnessed too, people, if they have a disagreement or fallout with people, they put it on the internet and they start airing out all their dirty laundry. And that has left people with a sense of like, oh, let me not tell this person anything, with the fear of it's going to go on the media or someone else is going to hear about it. So I always encourage people when you go to therapy, like, hey, you're spending X amount of dollars. This person can't say who, tell your business or say what.
If I say I cuss up my mother or my husband cheat on me, professional, they're not allowed to discuss anything.
Exactly.
So it's the safest thing to do, unless you go to some kind of a quack.
I feel like I call my therapist my diary because she knows everything about me. And I feel like I have so much things going on in my life in particular. Like I have a non-for-profit, I teach college at night, I have a photography business, I teach high school in the morning, and then I'm a young girl, I'm in my 30s. I deal with all kind of things, friends, relationships, family issues. It's like my drop-off station. I go there every Friday at 4 and I just unload. I just say what's bothering me, how I feel, try to work through issues, and I leave feeling so refreshed because it's my drop-off center. I go drop off my problems and I'm just free.
You don't have to carry it around with you all day. You don't have to worry that it gets in the wrong hands.
I gotta worry about being on Facebook or Instagram or Snap because no one knows. It's a great place to be. It's a great place for you to unload because people always ask me like, how you so strong and you get things done. And I take care of myself mentally because if your mind is not healthy, you're not healthy.
The thing is, when people hear the word mental, oh my God, they're going to think I'm crazy. Oh my God. No. Mental, anything that have to do with your mind, that's mental. Doesn't mean you're crazy. It means that you have to be able to unload stuff, talk about stuff, release it. Don't bottle it up inside. My dad said something to me before he passed. He said, because I tell everybody, I say I got a touch of craziness in me. You know what I mean? And I mean that in the most fun-loving way. But
I'm going to use that word.
Yeah, I have a touch of craziness. People ask me how do I end up writing these these stories for my novels. I write historic fiction, and most of it is imagination. And I say you got to be a touch of crazy, a flair for the dramatics, dead serious, a flair for the dramatics, and an overactive imagination. So guilty. I have a touch of crazy, but my dad said to me, and my parents would always say, "Oh, girl, you crazy." Oh. And my dad said to me, he said, it's funny, there's people like you that don't crack up that easily. Because you don't take things so seriously that you don't go and get help, and you don't take everything so, like, you gotta be. He said, the people that seem together, in control, never break a sweat, that's the man or woman you're gonna see flip and go crazy.
It's so true.
Yep.
And speaking to you, I've known people like that. Like people who are very uptight and everything. They flip very easily.
Right.
Me now, I'm cracking up and said touch of crazy because I feel I have a touch of crazy.
I have a touch of crazy, and I tell you this, and I come from a family with a touch of crazy. In a good way. In a good way. So my thing, I'm always like, I gotta take care of myself mentally.
Yeah, I do.
Cause I don't. And here's another thing he taught me. I said I gotta take care of myself mentally because I don't want to go crazy, like totally crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. And he also said something which is so true. He said, if you are worrying about going crazy, you're the sanest person.
That's me.
He said the average person who really have real mental problems and don't even know they need help, they think the world is crazy and they're the only sane person. A person who have any kind of worries about, oh gosh, Lord, I'm under so much stress. Lord, I hope I don't have a nervous breakdown. Oh, I hope I don't go crazy. That's a pretty sane person. And especially if you're able to do what you're doing or what I do, is to go sit with somebody and talk.
Right.
I've been through lots of stuff in my life, but I don't want to make this about me anyway. Let's go back to you. But I go, like you said, and I get help. So when I was reading the book, that's one of the big takeaway I got. Ask for help. Don't get a place to unload. Get a place where you could kind of leave things at the door or put it in somebody else's lap and go home and be able to have a normal life. So now you're talking about forming a new identity. So you've now gotten help. You grew up Foresaken. You were able to embrace the support system that you did have. Of course, mourning and regretting that you don't have your mind. The part of you that maybe mourning is not the right word. There's a part of you that kind of pine for the fact that you saw the people with their parents and you don't. But you didn't let that stop you. You went. You got help. Now you're forming a new identity. So let's talk about chapter 5, which is forming a new identity.
I feel like after I started going to therapy, I became a new person. Because things that used to bother me and the way I reacted to certain situations, I wasn't doing it anymore. Because, I have my drop-off location. We talk about things. I learned how to, form new ways of how dealing with stuff. So I started to get a new identity, much more calmer. Mm-hmm. Because, like you said, the touch of crazy, my touch of crazy used to be like a crazy touch of crazy. Mm-hmm. I would flip on you.
My touch of crazy, I'm a perfectionist.
I am too.
I'm a perfectionist.
I think that's what drives me.
And I'm a control freak. I have to be
Everything has to be done.
Yeah, I have to be in control. And I'm learning to recognize that, say it, and I'm learning to
pull back a little.
Yeah. And realize you don't have to do everything yourself. It's okay that your son wash his own laundry and put his clothes away. You don't have to go to a 9-to-5, run a business, take care of the house, cook the food, do their laundry for them. But I put myself under so much pressure. Yeah. Not because others weren't able to step up and do their part, but because I'm a control freak. I have to be in control all the time. And I drove myself crazy. Just not literally insane, But crazy meaning I was so high strung. Right. So I am doing this in chapter 5, forming a new identity as we speak, where I'm learning pull back. Everything life's a bitch, so to speak. Nothing in life is perfect. Shit happens, and I have a thing that I say, which is, oh well, shit happens. It happens.
I have a little cough, so
that's okay. Drink your tea.
I'm gonna have a little bit more water to clean myself. I feel like, with that being said, me, same way. Control freak, always I'm a perfectionist with everything I do. Everything has to be. I'm such a perfectionist, I will lay down in my bed, and if it's a cup and thing, I'll have to get up 3 o'clock in the morning and wash it out. Just because everything has to be neat and spanking. And a thing that I used to do a lot is to take on everybody's problems. You don't have any money, you're broke,
letting people
money, taking care of everyone, make sure everyone have a problem. Now I'm like, no.
I remember even at work, lending people money. And I remember one lady died just after she had just repaid me. And she had a habit of borrowing. She did pay back, come and borrow again. I stopped doing that. Unless you're my child or my parent, you're not borrowing money from me. I will give you a few dollars if you're in need. And I don't have to get it back, but I'm not lending money. But, my touch of crazy was, I still have some touch of crazy, but my touch of crazy that I've walked on and I've really persevere in terms of getting some handle on it, is that I used to be one of those people that I had to, everything had, I'll give you an idea. everything had to be perfect on the outside as my life is falling apart on the inside.
Right.
I remember going through problems in my marriage. And when I go to church, I was in church, and I remember going to church, and I would be, they used to call me Lady Di, because I had to be perfect in my dressing. That's why I tell people, when you see people being, every hair in place, everything shiny and perfect.
Something wrong.
Something is possibly wrong, yes. Because life isn't that neat and wrapped up. And I remember going to church, and I had to have the matching hat, with the shoes, with the bag, with the outfit. Everything had to be immaculate and in place. And it was almost like I had to put on this costume to cover up the mess that was happening at home. Because I didn't have the control over what was happening at home. So the only control I have is how I present myself to the world. But inside, I'm crying because things are falling apart.
That's how I felt a lot of times. I felt like a lot of times. What's so crazy is when I put this book out, and a lot of my friends read it. It was like, "Oh my God, Anesha, I didn't know that. You never met your biological mom. You were like basically taking care of yourself from a young age because you always kept yourself. I always had on the latest clothes. I've always I'm not really materialistic, but I always make sure I'm nice and clean, fashionable. I've always gone to school. I've always been to school parent. I've always, been in the limelight in the sense that I've always been kind of not really like an it girl. I don't want to say I'm an it girl, but in the sense that I was always in the know, always at the best parties, always at the best things, always at the most social events, always on these social event trips. Like, I didn't look like somebody that was dying inside. And I always made my outer appearance, I'm strong, I'm this, I'm that, but I was suffering.
Inside.
I was suffering inside. And it was like a pain.
In chapter 5, you said the power of the tongue is mighty. So in forming a new identity, some of the things that you were careful with is what you say. Because what you say could be so powerful. You really draw that stuff to you. You also talk about positive affirmations. And I subscribe to that one. Right. Like, speak positively. When you find yourself being down, say some I call it positive self-talk.
Right.
Same thing. Positive self-talk. And then we go on to say, catching yourself making mistakes and correcting them.
Right.
Life isn't perfect. You're going to make mistakes in life.
A lot.
Correcting them. So that's all in chapter 5. And then chapter 6, you talk about the exposure of a growing epidemic. And what might that epidemic be?
Parental abandonment.
What advice do you have for parents out there sitting in the seat of someone who was forsaken by your parents? What advice do you have for parents who might be not necessarily totally forsaken, but maybe partially or rejected? Any form of forsakenness. What might they need to know what they're actually doing to that young person? Because your story is a success story. At many levels, but that's not the norm. Oftentimes people don't know how to channel that feeling of rejection. They don't know how to get help. They don't know, even what's normal. So everybody wouldn't be an Anesha Fuller. So what do you say to parents who might be straddling that, maybe they're fully forsaken their child, or they're straddling that kind of partial forsakenness? Or
I think it's never too late to correct a situation, and it's really all about approach. I feel like if my parents had a different approach, it would have been a different situation. But sometimes I think people have an issue with saying, I'm wrong, I'm sorry, I don't know, let's learn. And I feel like sometimes parents feel like, I'm the parent, so I'm always right, it's what I say, who cares how you feel, and it can't be like that.
Be seen and not heard, your feelings don't really matter.
Yeah, you can't, that allows for the disconnect. You're never too old to say sorry. I work in a high school, and I'm this, and I'm working in college, and when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. I'm like, you know what, I'm sorry. Like, help me understand. But some people don't have that humility in them to say, you know what, I'm a parent, I've done you wrong, but let's work towards making the situation right.
That is so, and that's so important.
It's very important.
As a parent, you need to get to that point where you can admit if you're wrong. I would tell you of a story, a little story in my life. I remember getting married. My daughter was about 18, and she grew up from the age of about 12, and her dad broke up. So she grew up with just me as the mom catering to her. And of course, she was going through her teenage years, and that would have had its challenges. But now here's this new person coming in. And his attitude was not that of, let me give her some time to kind of warm up to me and get to know me. His thing was, basically like she's a brat type of thing, and that approach wasn't helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And she became, of course, more resentful. And I had to admit later on that I wasn't as understanding. I thought, she's 18, she's about to go to college. What does she care who I marry or what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And that's not true. It was hard on her because she had never had to even share me with another sibling.
Right.
Much less a new
So
spouse.
you're bringing somebody new into her
right,
aura.
into her aura, and he doesn't have kids, so now we're talking about having a child. And she's not going to be an oldie child anymore. She's mama's, she was my all.
Yeah.
Right? So I was not empathetic into what she was going through. And that caused her to be more hurt. It strained our relationship for a while. And I had to come to the point of saying, wow, you did hurt that child. It's not that you meant to, but you did. You were not sympathetic enough.
Yeah.
You didn't try to understand her perspective or give her some time to get used to this. So we as parents, we can be more helpful to these children at least when we do mess up.
Yeah.
If we are rejecting or we are partially forsaken or even fully forsaken, if we're more empathetic. You were mentioning when you talk to your father that it's more like he's worried about himself.
Right.
Telling you about his issues. I remember if you said with his mom as well. So you were like,
hi.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about me today. Like let's leave you alone and put
how
a
are you
light
doing?
on me. Yeah, like why does everything always have to be about you every time you call?
So who is Dr. Anesha Fuller? I'm going to read you her something about her. Dr. Fuller is currently a New York City public school teacher and a recent graduate from Capella University with a doctorate degree of education specializing in curriculum and instruction. Dr. Fuller is also the founder of the No Rest Until Success Foundation, which serves the New York community in education awareness, but whose central aim are helping New York City school seniors pursue their college dreams through scholarships. Dr. Fuller's success story stems from being raised in New York City, Bronxville, East Flatbush section of Brooklyn, New York, and being exposed to the power of education and the places that a solid education can take you. Being raised without either of her parents, Dr. Fuller managed to put herself through school and remain student loan and debt free. That's impressive. Dr. Fuller's personal struggle has created a purpose of motivating others to use education to take themselves out of poverty. In turn, Dr. Fuller wishes to inspire others to become self-motivated in life to deliver themselves from whatever battle or rut they are currently in and to a more promising tomorrow. So that's a little bit about you. So we talk about this incredible journey of total forsakenness.
Very incredible.
And how you were able to weather that storm, to keep motivated, to keep pushing forward, to keep, and then to write this amazing book. And it's really powerful. I call it a little stick of dynamite. Yeah. It's a little book. It has a lot of very important information. And I like that it's not like a long drawn out thing.
Oh, listen, when I wrote that book, I know me. I'm an educator. I go amongst people. I can't take long drawn out things. Mm-hmm. I've learned that it's not always has to be long and drawn out. It could be little but impacting.
Right.
And I wanted a book to be an easy read for people so that they can give it. And what a lot of people have done, they gave it to their children. Mm-hmm. They give it, so it's written very impacting, but it could be read amongst everyone. And you have to think about it. In today's day and time, no one sits down and reads books that are over 100 pages unless it's
so true.
It's not true in the sense that, let me correct my statement. People do read books over 100 pages if it's something interesting and fascinating to them.
But I tell you, one is fascinating. A lot of people don't have that kind of time. We're in such a fast-paced world.
Yeah.
People are doing more the audiobooks. Yeah. So when I have something that's written, I like for it to be concise, really short.
Yeah.
And what I found with this is that you explain the different areas of forsakenness and different things about the book, but it was just, you got to the point, you explained it, you got the point. It wasn't this long draw.
I was going to make you read 15 chapters just to get to one point. I can't. I know me. I like read, boom. This is what you're saying?
Okay, I think we're the signal is for us to take a break. So We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap this up and get a little bit more into who you are as a person in terms of today. Where's your life today? We know about the PhD, we know about all that stuff, so you'll take us along that journey in terms of who you are in your personal life.
Interesting.
All right, we'll be right back. Okay, so welcome back to The Writer's Nest. So we know you wrote this amazing book. You have a PhD, you have this incredible story. What else are you doing in terms of life? What are you up to other than the PhD and the book? You seem to be involved in a lot of other stuff. So tell us what are some of the things you're doing?
Well, I mentioned repetitively that I teach high school, and then I'm an adjunct professor at night. And to add to it, I have a non-for-profit. I recently started my non-for-profit. I'm so passionate about education in the sense that I think people have like a misconception with education. They automatically tie education to college. And people think, okay, I've noticed with a lot of times with people on Facebook or meeting them, people, especially people who have not gone to college, they have like an attitude and negative condemnation about college. And education is associated with college, yes, but that's not only what education is all about. Education is about feeding your mind with knowledge and all different kinds of knowledge. Like when people meet me and get to know me, like my friends call me the walking human Google. Because I know so much. Like, I know this. I know how to get my hands on this. I know how to reach out to you to do this. And it's because I feed myself with so much education of different things, of different knowledge. Like, I don't care where I am or who you are. Like, I talk to you. I pick up something from you that I can use. You understand me?
So what about what other things are you doing in terms of, are you speaking?
Well, with the non-for-profit, we recently, to tell you guys about the non-for-profit, and I'm also going to make sure I pass on the information, it's called the No Rest to Success Foundation, and it's www.thenорesttosuccessfoundation.org.
Do that slowly.
Okay, so www.thenорesttosuccessfoundation.org. So the No Rest Until Success Foundation is one word, then the .org.
Okay.
Or even if they Google No Rest Until Success Foundation, it'll come up.
It'll come up, yeah.
And we had our very first event, which was a book giveaway and a literacy class. So basically what we did, I set it up on Eventbrite, open to everyone, and you basically came in. Other members from my non-for-profit, Julius and Michelle, they are also literacy coaches and special ed teachers from the Board of Ed. We taught parents how to help your children read better, and we focused on reading comprehension skills. Because a lot of times people don't know how to do certain things with their children at home. Like if you're not skilled in that particular area, you won't know that you're supposed to ask their children before, during, after questions, DOK question, Bloom's taxonomy question to help them with the book and particular reading strategies. So a part of coming to the workshop, when it was over, we gave away over 300 books on different reading levels from elementary, middle school to high school for participants to take home and build their reading library. Because, it's very important to feed yourself with knowledge.
Right. You also mentioned during the break that you were getting ready to do a lecture. I believe in Houston, is it?
Yes, I'm going to Texas in January. I'm going to be speaking at a conference.
You're what, a keynote speaker?
One of the featured keynote speakers, yeah. And I'm going to be talking about a particular area of curriculum. And, I'm going to be expressing, why it's so important to have a certain rigor in reading that will, help your classroom. And also people that probably attend that are parents or whatever realms of education, why reading is so important. Because one of the things that I did with my whole dissertation project was geared towards literacy curriculum, and we have like a nationwide crisis with reading and writing. And I feel as we continue with so much modern technology of the phone, iPads, it kind of like deepens the crisis in a sense that I can speak into an app and it writes out what I think instead of me typing it and figuring out the words. Or you can listen to something, audio instead of you sitting down and reading it. So it's like people aren't sharpening their skills as what we used to have back in the days. And I also feel like in terms of writing as well. When I was in junior high school, I had a writing intensive course. They don't have that in junior high schools anymore. So children start off getting a strong writing and reading curriculum in elementary. The ball gets dropped in junior high because everyone's teaching towards a test. Then they get to high school when they have to sit and do Regents examinations, and it consists of a lot of reading and writing, and they don't have these particular skills.
Okay.
So, and then they leave high school, they get in the work world, they can't function because they don't have these particular skills. Even if they don't necessarily if they don't go to college, if they go into the work world, they can't read and write properly. Okay. They go to college, they got to take remedial courses.
Okay. So now, so you're doing your lecture, you're doing your teaching, you're doing your nonprofit. What else is going on in your life? Do you have kids? Are you married? Are you engaged? Your boyfriend? What do you do? Because you have a lot of stuff that you're working at. Or you just don't have time to even take care of that.
I own a photography business too, so I have that. I date.
Okay.
I date.
And that's all you can handle right now, probably.
I know. I mean, I want to settle down, but I date. I date, and if it happens, it happens. I feel like a part of my therapeutical journey. I feel like a lot of time I had envisioned. I think most people, 18, you're supposed to move out on your own, have this luxurious apartment. By the time you graduate college, you're supposed to have met your soulmate in college and be married. By 30, you're supposed to have this white picket fence. Husband,
2.5 kids,
2.5 kids, husband that makes good money. You guys live lavish, and then you raise kids. They go to college. Like this whole scripted life, and I realize a part of my journey is it's not scripted. It's so
it's
like
gonna happen when it happens.
It's gonna happen when it's gonna happen. It's like just live my best life. Date, see who likes me, whatever happens. I think when you don't put too much emphasis on it, it kind of turns out, better.
Yeah. Because
even sometimes when I sit and think about my own particular journey, I'm like fascinated. I'm like, oh my God, Anesha, like, look how much things you've been through and look at where you ended up at. Like, it was, I don't, people say they always knew I was going to be somebody because I was always smart and intelligent in school, but they didn't really know the demons that I was fighting behind closed doors. So for myself, it's like, wow, look at how far I've come with God. Like, look where He has brought me.
So you're very spiritual as well.
Yes. Yes. I strongly believe in God.
And do you believe that is one of the foundations that have kept you together? That kind of glued you together and not have let you fall apart? Because like I said, I think it's amazing that you as a young person would have come up with that enormous amount of neglecting stuff that went on with your parents, forsaking you and all of that stuff, and come out to have a PhD, to be here mentoring others. Do you think your faith
my faith
has helped?
And I tell everybody that I was saying to what I was going into, it was part of God's plan. Like 3 people told me in different occasions on different time periods that God wants me to share my story. Like, you're going to share a story and it's going to heal the hearts of many. And I call my book The Book That Healed the Heart of Many, because so many people have reached out to me. They want to go to a therapist. They were scared to say they want to because it's so like a taboo. And that, somebody like me opens up about it, like, yeah, I go to therapist every Friday at 5, girl. Hey, you need the number? Like, and I talk about a situation that people like sweep under the rug. And I feel like, especially in our day and time, with the whole social media area, everything has to be perfect. I gotta have a perfect life. I cannot have anything wrong with me going through anything. And I was wearing a mask, and I take off the mask.
Well, here's the thing. I think for me, reading the book and getting that part where you say, I know I needed help and I went and got it. It was good for me to hear that as a Caribbean person and listen to your Caribbean person saying that. Because, again, culturally, we're not big on the therapy thing. So it's good in that way that with me, who is somebody who have utilized therapy, to say, wow, now I feel good. That I'm not the only person who know that when you need help, you go seek help.
People are scared. The first way how to solve problems is identify a problem. And I'm very big on that with me. Like, I think what contributes besides the fact that I believe heavily in God, and I always give God thanks for what He has done for me. Like, sometimes when I walk into certain places and I sit among certain people and how I'm starting to see my journey unfold, sometimes I cry to myself like, God, like, how can you be so faithful to me? Like, you have brought me such a long, way.
Mm-hmm.
And when I end the book, I take you back into how I felt on this day, but in all sense, like, God was really in the crowd, cheering me on.
Yes, you did say that. You said that you felt, even though when you were first looking at it, that I don't see my mother, I don't see my father, that you did have a great support system. Beyond just your grandmother or relatives, but you had God was in
Always
that crowd supporting you.
He was in the crowd, cheering on the child that, people forgot about, but he uplifted me to like a certain level. And I felt like my story had to be part of I'm going to write more books, but this particular part of me had to be told, because I feel so much people feel like their situation is that's all. It's like a sense of defeat. Like, you can't rise above your circumstances and dream big. I dream extremely big.
Right. Okay, so how did they get this book? If somebody wants to, buy this book, where can they get it?
You can get it on Amazon.
It's on Amazon.com. Okay.
Amazon, you log on, you type in Growing Up Forsaken. Make sure you check that you are getting either the Kindle or paperback, because sometimes it goes straight to Kindle, because I publish on Kindle for the first day, and then the next day I did paperback. So just check paperback, Kindle.
Whether it's hardcover, hard copy, or electronic.
Right.
Okay. And if someone wants to get in touch with you, maybe they want you to do a lecture or something, how do they contact you? Do you have a phone number? Give it to us slowly.
Yes, you can contact me via email, Anesha Fuller. Well, if you have the book, if you see how my name is spelled.
So it's spelled Anesh Fuller, which is Fuller.
At yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com.
So Anesha Fuller at yahoo.com.
Okay.
You can reach out to me. Also number 347-424-8252. You can preferably text, because I'm a busy person. So calling me is like, text me, we'll set something up. But I really prefer email. Email is good to me. You can definitely email me. I'll come out. And this book has opened up so much doors for me, because people ask me to come out and speak. I give away the book to people, and some of my students, they said they relate to it, they understand it. It's something that most people can relate to, and I feel like it's a topic that I see everyone write books. It's women's empowerment, how to manage your money, some type of sexual drama. I never really see people talk about issues that's like really impacting us. And parental abandonment is such a big issue, because this is why you have so much men that don't know how to love properly, because they missed out on that, particular nurturing from either mother and father, how to be affectionate to women. Or in my own self, I used to realize when I used to have like flip out attacks from guys when they used to say, okay, we're going to do this, and then they cancel on me. I used to act like that because I was so accustomed to disappointment with my own father. And I'm like, when I make the connection now, I'm like, the way I used to act like that because I had daddy issues. Like, and it's something that, we got to talk about. That's why your behavior is the way it is because you're lacking that.
It's not just coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to get this book, Growing Up Forsaken by Dr. Anesha Fuller, you can get it on Amazon.com. You can also get it at the email address on the screen, and get a copy. Pick up a copy. It's a powerful book. If you have children that are experiencing issues with a father or mother not being in their lives, it's very simply written. It's not a book that uses a lot of jargon and a lot of complex language that they wouldn't understand. I think anybody can pick this book up and get something from it. So go ahead and order a copy. I thank you so much for stepping into the writer's nest.
Thank you
with me this afternoon and sitting on this couch with me and being able to take this journey with you. We certainly look forward to more books coming from you.
Yes, I have a book coming out.
And we hope to have you back whenever you have the next book. We'll be sure to have it back. Thank you to have you back. So thank you very much. Well, thank you for watching this edition of The Writer's Nest, and we hope to see you on another edition. Thank you.